All right, everyone, we're going to get started. If I can get everyone to find their seats quickly here. All right, well, good morning and welcome to 1 Million Cups. It is our 5-year anniversary today. We're very excited that everyone decided to join us, and we just want to give you a big welcome and thank you so much for coming out to 1 Million Cups today. Normally what we do is we have 2 companies that come on stage and they tell us about their business, and we give them good feedback and ask them lots of questions that's intended to help them grow. Today though, we're very lucky and we're going to have 5 companies here. And all these 5 companies that previously presented at 1 Million Cups, today they're going to share with us an update and hopefully talk a little bit about how 1 Million Cups have helped them grow their business. So in case you're new, do we have any new people here today? Can you raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, okay. All right, lots of new people, I love it. So the trick is with 1 Million Cups is to keep coming back. There was a research done, and what happens is you have to talk with someone naturally 7 times before you feel comfortable asking them to out to coffee or maybe to help them with your business. But if you kind of run to that person naturally 7 times, it's way less awkward, you feel more comfortable asking them. So if you come to 1 Million Cups 7 times, that means that you'll feel comfortable asking everyone in here to hang out and have a good time. Okay, so 1 Million Cups is a nonprofit founded by the Kauffman Foundation. They started out in Kansas City, Missouri. Sorry, I got lost. Okay, they started in Kansas City, Missouri, and what's happened is they had this idea, if everyone gets together and we have a cup of coffee every single Wednesday, together we can grow our businesses. From there it spread like wildfire, and now we're in all these different states. Every single week it seems like one of the states gets turned to blue because we're in a different state. And hopefully every single Wednesday we drink just one more cup of coffee. All right, so I think now it is time for our first presenter. First there's an app. Everyone make sure that you download our app, and from there you can check in and give the presenter feedback. All right, now it is time for our first presenter. Today we have 5 companies, but first up we got Foundation of Choice with Aylin.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. This is my first time presenting. Previously, our CEO, Jessica Bartnick, was here to present. So I'm just going to kind of go over our program, what we do, who we are, and I'm not James, who's on there, so nice to meet all of you. So Foundation for Choice is a one-to-one student mentoring program. We work with at-risk high school students in Dallas and Plano. Essentially what we do is it is a completely volunteer-based organization where mentors will go to the schools for an hour a week and meet with their students to help them get into college. So everything from the college application process to the scholarship application process to just kind of learning about what they want to do and exposing them. It's really about sort of broadening their horizons because so many of these kids just don't know what's available to them. So we now live in a dropout nation. The U.S. faces a shortfall of 5 million college-educated workers by 2020. 86% of Dallas County high school graduates come from low-income homes, and less than 5% of those are college-ready. That is a shocking statistic. It speaks for itself. In Texas alone, we spend over $80 million a year in grants that fail to produce college degrees. It is insane how much money is given to students that then get to college and realize that they are completely unprepared for what the rigor is for a college degree. So how do we define low-income students? So low-income is classified as just over $26,000 a year annually for a family of 3. Every additional family member, it's just over $5,000 added to that number. So that's low, that's very low. And 90% of these students will drop out of college and fall right back into this lifestyle. So in Dallas, 64% of Dallas ISD students enroll in college. But of those, only 20% of Dallas ISD students achieve a college degree. And 10% of Dallas ISD students graduate college-ready by college-ready standards. Just to kind of give you guys context, college-ready, generally speaking, is an 1100 on the SAT. We were going over the numbers yesterday, actually, and we were looking at some of the averages for some of the Dallas schools that we are personally in. And overall, Dallas is at 917 on the SAT. That is very low, and a lot of the schools we are in are in the 800s range. So, just for context. 55% of Dallas ISD students will apply for FAFSA, which is crazy. That's free money on the table for students, and they just don't know it's there. They don't know either how to apply, they don't have the resources, and they don't have people pushing them to apply for these scholarships or for these financial aid. 19% of Dallas ISD students will receive a scholarship or grant for college.
What's FAFSA?
FAFSA, that's federal student aid.
Free application for student loans.
Yeah. For aid. So for our students, these statistics are for our program last year. We'll have updated ones when this year's complete. But 95% of our students will enroll in college. We actually have a 100% acceptance rate. However, some of our students will end up going into the military or will do some other post-secondary education. 70% of choice students remain in college. 26% of our students will graduate at college ready. This is a statistic that we think is still way too low. This is something that we're improving, but it is too low. That's only 16% higher than the average. 100% of our students will apply for FAFSA. We make it's part of our curriculum that they have to go in and apply, all of our seniors. 90% of choice students will receive a scholarship or a grant. Just to kind of give you an overview, last year we had 416 scholarship applications submitted. We had over $1 million in scholarships awarded, which is very exciting. That is great for kids. Last year we had just over 60 students, so that's awesome. We had $117,000 in federal aid awarded. We had 195 college applications submitted. 15% of 15 students utilize the Dallas County Promise Initiative, which, if you guys aren't familiar, this is a scholarship that is basically for Dallas low-income students that bridges the gap between other scholarships and what their final baseline tuition is going to cost them. 56% of our students have tuition completely covered. So part of what we do is we have our kids apply to over 15 scholarships, 15 at a minimum, a year for college. And so it's crazy. We don't have it on here, but statistically, if you apply for 5 or less scholarships, you get no money. Just by sheer numbers alone and putting yourself out there and applying to as many scholarships as you can, it's better. We had 2,700 volunteer hours, which, like I said, is how our entire program runs. I'm running out of time, but any good questions that
Thank you so much, Caleb. We will now open up the floor for questions, but our first question to you is always, what can we as a community do for you?
So our biggest thing is just spreading awareness that we are an asset, a resource for these kids. What we're trying to do right now is get into more and more ISDs. So we are currently in Dallas and Plano. We're in 5 Dallas schools. The need is simply greater in Dallas. But we're also working to get in the areas around because we'd like to create a presence that is more widespread than where we currently are.
All right, if you have a question, you can just raise your hand and we'll call on you to get your question answered. And I'm sorry, before you answer the question, will you repeat it so everybody can hear?
Which Dallas schools are you in right now?
Which Dallas schools are we in? So we are in Thomas Jefferson. We're in North Dallas. We're in Conrad. We are in did I say North Dallas? Oh my gosh, sorry. Conrad, Thomas Jefferson, North Dallas, Roosevelt, and I'm blanking on my 5th school.
Skyline, SOC.
I'm so sorry. I'm nervous to be up here. Sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry about
So how can we help you get into some of those schools?
So what we're trying to do basically is what we do is we go to different schools at the end of every school year, and we'll go and we'll do a presentation where we talk about who we are, what we do for the kids. We only work with juniors and seniors right now. We're potentially considering working on getting into middle schools as well, but that's way further down the road. So any schools that we can get introduced to, or we can go and do one of those presentations would be great.
There are alumni groups on Facebook for different schools. Have you tapped into those? I mean, that would seem like it would be low-hanging fruit.
Yes, in some ways. So we do a certain amount of getting mentors through some of those organizations. So like with SMU, we have some contacts over there, and since Dallas is such a rich area with different college opportunities, we try to tap into going to those schools and getting mentors as well as potential business champions for when they graduate. So I didn't quite have time to get to it, but one of the things that we do through our organization is we pair our students not only with a mentor but with a local business so that they're able to go to those schools. So we try to kind of start at that college level and then work our way into their businesses as well. Yes?
I know you said you're a nonprofit. Where does your funding come from?
Yeah.
Or how do you guys do that?
Yeah, so we have a variety of avenues. Obviously, you can donate to us, but we have a gala at the end of every year. We do fundraisers, we do different events throughout the year for those types of things. We also just hired a development director who is basically going to be in charge of going out and finding opportunities that's going to help us get more funding to be able to get into all of these different schools. Yes.
So after the school program, on the flip side, do you also work with the universities to ensure that people do the program and graduate?
So that's something that we're looking to get into right now. We pair them with another nonprofit or other organizations. One of our favorites is actually in Dallas. It's called Scholarshot, and they take our students, a good chunk of our students, and they will bridge that gap and take them into college. Our goal is to have like little pods, I guess, on different campuses of Foundation for Choice students eventually. Yes.
So do you work with corporations to try to have more mentor resources?
Yes, a big piece of that comes from our business champions. So kind of a couple different ways that we can get involved with businesses. If you want to get involved with our students and have a somewhat low commitment, it's 3 phone calls and a half-day career shadow. So that's kind of our first initial step in the door with getting our students into, getting to experience what it's like to be in a professional setting. Because for so many of these students, that's a very new concept for them. They haven't had an opportunity to get in those rooms and meet those people. And that is just something that we want to provide for them. And then also on the flip side, allows for the businesses to be able to get to know our students, get to know who we are on a very trial basis, and then start to understand kind of our bigger idea, our bigger picture. And then if they want to maybe go from business champion to mentor next year and then do the full 27-week program, awesome. And then from there, you can continue to grow that. So that's sort of how we do that.
We have time for one more question.
Yes.
So at this point, do you have students that are in college, and do you have anyone that's graduated?
This is going to be our first year.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting year for us because it's we're 4 years old, so this coming year is going to be the first year that we're going to have college grads.
Oh, great.
So we're pretty excited about that. Every year we've grown, so we started with about 20 kids, and we went up to 40 last year with 60, and this year we're at 100 kids. So we're growing each year consistently. So.
Thank you so much. Presenter, AJ with Flight Club. You told me you are allowed to talk about it.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for joining on a Wednesday morning from your work. I'm RJ with Flight Club. The first rule of Flight Club, we always talk about Flight Club. So if you're a traveler, especially a business traveler, I'm sure you have seen this situation. This is a live picture from an airport in Colorado, Denver Airport. So the challenge what you're seeing is, I personally, I'm a business traveler, in and out every week. The challenge is at the airport is, long lines, the security lines. More importantly, the customer service from the airlines, delayed flights, with canceled flights. These are some of the statistics. So what I've realized is I'm sure there's a better way to make your airport experience better. And talking to other business travelers, what I've realized is when you're at the airport, you're always anxious. You don't know what happens. You can be pulled out of your security line. You're waiting 20 minutes just to get Starbucks coffee, and of course, airlines, they act on the whim, cancel flights, delayed flights. So the whole idea was how to make your airport experience better. So the solution is, one is you typically waste a lot of time standing in lines, security lines, food lines, checking in, boarding on the flight. So how do we reduce that? How do we reduce the time? The second one, again, more focused for business travelers, is there's always an opportunity for you to network. So today on LinkedIn, I'm sure people have thousands of connections, but you might not even met 80% of them. But this is live, where you can actually get to see who else you're flying with on the same flight and leverage that time, on the flight or even before the flight to network. And this is especially focused more towards business travelers, salespeople, people looking for making connections. So how do we do it? The app, so we have a backend platform, and then we also have an app called Flyght Club. It's live both on iOS and Android. The iOS we were live about a year ago, and Android about 6 months ago. But the key features, what we have is what's called grab and go. And the idea behind that is you can actually pre-order food at any restaurant in the airport, and you can actually go and pick it up right away. So the biggest advantage, especially if you're a business traveler, Monday morning, lines are long, even it's 20 minutes to get a Starbucks coffee, right? So you can skip that. That actually gives you that additional time. Again, like I said, the next piece is networking. You actually get to see, if you provide your airline information, you get to see who else are you flying with. So that actually gives you an advantage, opportunity to connect with them even before and leverage that time at the airport as a meeting opportunity. This is what we have live, and what we are planning, what's on the roadmap is, right now, most of the restaurants on the airports, they're live. We are planning to add duty-free shopping. This is especially for international travelers. And we always tend to forget, you have to buy a gift for your significant other, or even the opportunity to take leverage of the cheaper cost. So we are planning to add duty-free shopping and autonomous delivery. So we are actually working on a prototype to have a delivery robot actually deliver the food from the restaurant to your gate. Imagine DFW, imagine London Heathrow. These are like cities by itself. So what if your favorite restaurant is way too far, in a different terminal or a different gate? So the idea is you don't have to run between gates and restaurants. We will be so where we are, again, the app is live. We have the networking piece. We have the grab and go, which is the feature to be able to order food. This is our roadmap. We started in 2015. That was just initially the networking piece. Then we launched the iOS on the networking piece. We're publishing Huffington Post. We presented at a few startup conferences. 2017 was a big step where we added the grab and go. So currently we are live in about 30 different airports, DFW being one of them. So next time when you're flying, please try us out. We are live in US 30 airports and London 5 airports. So we are adding more airports as we speak. And the big step for 2019 is the robot for delivery. So these are some of the airports we are live. Again, like I said, DFW, London Heathrow. Please check us out. This is our revenue model. Most of it is coming through food orders. And right now, it is a free app. But again, the idea is to make it membership based. So that
So we will open up the floor for questions, but our first question to you is, what can we as a community do for you?
Thank you. First of all, I should thank 1 Million Clubs. This is the second time I'm presenting. But as a community, again, please try it out, especially if you're traveling. give us your feedback. We actually have a live customer feedback option on the app itself. And as I mentioned, it's live both on iOS and Android.
All right, if you have a question, raise your hand, and will you please repeat the question once they ask you?
Sure. Go ahead.
The lines are for security, not at the duty free or the, what else you're saying now, so how does, there's never a line in the duty free or you want to order food?
Well, the question was the lines are specifically at the security and not at food orders and duty free. Well, what I have seen is completely different, especially if you're a business traveler. I used to take a flight every Monday morning, and it would take me 20 minutes at Starbucks to get a cup of coffee. And I did not like the coffee on the flights, you know.
Buy coffee at McDonald's.
No, probably. I mean, you know, that is an option. I mean, you know, you can skip the TSA lines. But what we have seen is there is always a crowd. There's always, and especially at larger airports like DFW. It took me about 20 minutes at Dunkin' Donuts to get a cup of coffee. So if you can skip that line, I'm sure you can leverage that time. For a business traveler, 20 minutes, it's key. So
Starbucks allows you to pre-order and then go into Starbucks and pick up. They explicitly don't let you do it from airport locations. And I tried it. This would be a great way around that line. Now,
Sure.
Are you saying that they're changing that?
well, the question was it specific to Starbucks?
Yeah, Starbucks, like most food places, allows you to pre-order and go in and just pick up.
Sure.
So you can avoid lines, particularly at lunchtime, usually is the story.
Sure. So
But at the airport locations, if you go to the airport in DFW or Love Field and you try and order a coffee or whatever from there remotely, but just by standing right next to the thing and ordering it, it will not let you order from that location. So this location does not support this facility.
I think the question was, you know, is it specific to Starbucks? Not specific to Starbucks. You know, we have, like I said, every other restaurant. Now, specific to Starbucks itself, we have an option where we integrate with the platform with an app, so you can actually pre-order the coffee
With their app,
through
I
an app.
can't order directly from an airport kiosk to pick it up there. But with your app, I can bypass that.
Yes, and that's the idea. But outside of Starbucks, every other restaurant, for example, TGI Fridays is on a platform, Dunkin' Donuts, Wendy's, all of these restaurants. About 80% of restaurants at DFW are on our platform.
Do you have a concept for this robot? What would this look like?
That's a good question. The question was, do you have a concept for the robot? We are working with two companies, a startup out of Stanford. They have a prototype built, so you're trying to see how we can leverage that in an airport. The advantage for using in an airport, it's an enclosed environment. Initially, they started a robot for food delivery within the towns, within the cities, within the Stanford campus, but our idea is to actually use that within the airport itself. So we are probably, I would say, about 50% on the concept end. We have a prototype built, but it's not right yet.
AJ, so I'm sure you tracked the timing of the service requests. Are they mostly during the security lines? They kind of know how long it is, like based on the order?
So the question was if we track the timing, it's like, when they order and how long it takes. We do track, but what we have seen is most of the times, it's typically with the business travelers, they're on the way to the airport, like they're in their Uber or Lyft, and they realize that, okay, they don't have much time, they need to pick up the breakfast or coffee, so that's when they go ahead and order. And what we do is we send a confirmation back once we get the order. We also give a time estimate, how long it's going to take for their order to be ready. So, 10, 15, 20 minutes. I've seen people ordering it when they are standing at the TSA line, and that itself is a huge advantage.
We have time for one more question.
Can you explain a little bit more about how the networking aspect of it works?
Sure. The question was, how does the networking aspect work? So there are a few options. One is, as a traveler, as a passenger, you provide your information on the app itself. You can actually manually put in, you can scan your boarding pass, or you can give access to your airline app, American, United, whatever. So that actually, it's kind of like, you're providing your information, your flight information, and then everybody else who's on the app, you'll be able to see, who else you're flying with. And as a matter of fact, last time I was here, there was a gentleman from Amazon. He said that's one of the big features which he wanted to leverage and use it. So. I'm sorry? It's already available both on iOS and on Android. So you can actually download it, test it out. Flyght Club. It's FLYGHT CLB. Okay? And please talk about Flyght Club. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. And also nice work, by the way. I know it's really tough for us little guys when we're trying to launch something new. And it's really impressive that you were able to get 80% of restaurants in DFW to listen to you and take you seriously. I know if anyone else is in here trying to start business before, it's like you send those emails and no one responds. So nice work on that. Love to hear how you accomplished that. Next up, we have Arun with Skyven Technologies.
Thank you. Appreciate the audience. My name is Arun Gupta. I'm the founder of Skyven Technologies. We were DEC members back in 2014. I think I've probably presented here 2 or 3 times now. So it's good to be back. Here we go. So, our society is built with flames. Everything that you and I consume on a daily basis, from the food we eat to the clothes we wear, all of that stuff comes from a factory, and it requires a tremendous amount of heat to produce that stuff. Over $1 trillion is spent annually worldwide on fuel for industrial process heat, and many industries require more heat than electricity. Big users include food processing, chemicals, textiles, the list goes on. But there's an economic problem too. Process heat costs 6 times more in regions of the world without natural gas distribution infrastructure. That means pipelines running to every building. So without natural gas, customers burn oil in their boilers, and they need to truck that oil on site. It gets extremely expensive. We've talked with customers around the world, places like India, China, Mexico. They're paying an average of $18 per million BTU for fuel, while customers on the gas grid here in Texas are paying $3 per million BTU. But you don't have to go that far to see this problem firsthand. You just go out into the country where they don't have natural gas, and they're paying $20, $30, sometimes $40 per million BTU. So we've developed a solution that uses the sun as a distributed heat source. Our technology, which we call the Intelligent Mirror Array, or IMA, raises the temperature of the sun's heat as high as 400 degrees Fahrenheit. It does that by concentrating the sun, sort of like a magnifying glass out in the sun. But we don't charge customers for the system. Rather, we charge them for the heat that it produces, and we bill at a lower rate than they're already paying for fuel. So they pay nothing up front and they save money from day one. And it just so happens to be a zero-emission solution that allows our customers to stop polluting the air that their employees and their children are breathing. And even if there's political instability in the world and fuel prices shoot up, the sun will still come out and our heat prices remain stable, giving our customers OpEx predictability. And one of the aspects that they like most about our technology is the fact that we integrate behind an existing industrial boiler. We don't replace things in their factory, so that leads to very little operating risk and zero downtime risk. So I mentioned customer traction. We've been getting some pretty fantastic customer traction from some of the largest companies in the world, companies like Procter & Gamble. We probably have the best relationship with Chobani, the yogurt company, a $2 billion yogurt company. And our focus is on consumer product goods, so this is like Procter & Gamble, Unilever. We have a lot of focus on food processing, and then there are some additional applications such as heat for corporate campuses. The team, we're happy and proud to be based here in DFW with roots at UT Dallas, at Texas Instruments, Mary Kay, some other mainstay Dallas institutions. And and from Texas Instruments. So my background is with TI, and this technology comes out of the research lab at TI, where I was working for DLP, which is a chip with millions of microscopic mirrors on it, and power almost every cinema projector in the world. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got these huge solar power plants that are miles wide. You see them out on the plane if you're flying to Vegas. So we're right in the middle. Our technology is about, it's the size of a solar panel. And you can see how it works. We've got a panel with an array of mirrors. Those mirrors focus sunlight onto a receiver on the right. That receiver has a black pipe in it. The pipe is heated by the power of 30 suns, so it gets really hot. And then we pump that heat to the boiler to reduce fuel consumption. I often get a question, how does this compare with PV? That's regular solar. Well, it's about 3 times more efficient than regular solar. We're about 60% efficient. Regular solar is around 20%. Now, compared to parabolic troughs, these are huge curved mirrors out in the desert. Parabolic troughs are super expensive. They require heavy equipment, lots of manufacturing. They're much less expensive. All right.
Thank you so much, Arun. We're gonna open up the floor for questions. Once again, our first question to you is, what can we as a community do for you?
Okay. First of all, I appreciate the audience again. So, 2 things. Great questions are really helpful to me because it helps me prepare for questions that I get from people like investors. And also, we're hiring right now. We're hiring a capital projects engineer. This is someone that will help us develop and deploy large multi-million-dollar systems at these huge companies that I mentioned. So, if you know anyone, please reach out to me. Grab my card. I'll be around. Yes, sir.
So you mentioned industrial applications. Do you have an application that can be used for home use?
No, we're not targeting home use right now. There's other technologies. You can get old school solar water heaters, etc. for home use. Yes.
Is it possible for the consumer to purchase rather than effectively lease? And who's financing right now?
Yeah, so it is possible. We do give customers the option to purchase rather than do this arrangement is called a power purchase agreement, similar to a lease. And the finance comes from finance partners. So we're partnered with some. They're effectively private equity funds that fund this sort of thing.
Fund the customers?
Yeah. I mean, so it's project level equity finance. So that means that a private equity investor essentially buys the project. So
He buys the receivable.
The customer buys a receivable. So essentially, we put panels on the roof. A private equity investor buys those panels, owns the panels on the roof. So we go to Procter & Gamble. Private equity group owns the system on the roof of the Procter & Gamble plant.
And what's the yield they're getting on their investment?
It's about 15%.
15.
Yeah.
We should talk.
Yes, in the back.
Yes, great presentation.
Thank you.
I assume it uses those DLPs that you learned at TI and the mirrors.
It uses some of the technology behind DLP. We don't actually have little DLP chips in the panel.
And I assume you said $3 is what you get in Texas with pipelines. What cost do you get them down to that they pay through this? Also, do they have to keep a backup system in case it's cloudy or there's no sun out?
Yeah, so the backup system is really it's their primary system. So this doesn't replace it. It sits behind their system. So we're really just a supplement to their technology. The boilers that they have already. And then from a cost standpoint, we're able to provide that heat at a lower cost than they're already putting fuel in the boilers for. So it works out that when the sun's out, they save money. When the sun's not out, then their operation costs are what they are today. Yeah.
What's your revenue right now?
Yeah. This is deep industrial infrastructure. So said, we were founded in 2013. It's a long road to get industrial infrastructure technology out into the market. So we've actually, talking a little slower, we're actually just started manufacturing, so commercially manufacturing this technology, and we're filling our first orders. So we've actually delivered 2 systems now. They're both small, so we're talking like revenues in the tens of thousands of dollars. But these are the first 2 systems. We have a pretty substantially large pipeline that we'll get to over the next couple of years.
And how does the climate affect the effectiveness of this use of heat? I mean, certain parts of the country markedly more effective than others.
You're talking about weather climate or political climate?
Well, yeah, weather.
Yeah, so it is definitely more effective in places like California than it is in places like Seattle. Roughly a factor of 2x. So if you go to upstate New York or Seattle, you're going to be producing about about as much energy as you would in Cali. Yeah.
I was just looking at something like this about 6 months ago. A bit different. Does this qualify for tax credits? Like, when I looked at it,
It
6
does.
months ago, it was for hospitals and schools. They had to put it on some type of energy savings. Have you looked at that at all, or does it qualify?
It does. It qualifies for the same tax credits that standard solar does. And oftentimes it qualifies for more incentives than regular solar.
And time for one more question.
Okay, there.
So I hate to be the guy who's like, have you thought of this? But I was listening to a podcast the other day, and those big solar arrays can actually produce they can project onto the moon, given the appropriate whatever. They can project stuff onto the moon if it's dark. Have you thought about using this for not projecting onto the moon, of course, because it's smaller, but for holograms and things like that?
Sounds really cool.
All right, I'll expect royalties.
Yeah.
Is this technology, is it a license from TI or is this proprietary?
This is, so it's actually proprietary. We're different enough from the TI technology that TI actually gave us, essentially free. They gave us a release that says that this is different enough from what we're doing that you own it.
Are you patented?
Yes.
All right, that's all the time we have.
The question I had was, are these things dangerous? Like if you stand in front of them, like I'd imagine like...
They're not dangerous. You can put your hand right in front of it. It's warm. You don't want to leave it there, but it's not going to burn you.
Oh, wow, that's neat. All right, so I'd like to thank our sponsors today. Our first sponsor that I'd like to thank is Kurtu. He brought us treats. Maybe some of you got to eat them. If you haven't, you can go over there and check some out right now or after the presentation.
What were they exactly?
Transylvanian treats. I'm sure if you go over oh yeah, Monica's got some right here. And then I'd like to thank Michael Brunner, who's our video sponsor. He's in the back there. He's been videotaping everything we've done. And then we got Chris with Incredible Sounds who provided the photo booth. So if you get a chance, I go take your photo. It'll actually text you a photo. And then we have the Vital Protein Coffee. Hopefully everyone got a chance to try them out. I go chat with them and see what that's about. And then finally, I'd like to thank the Capital Factory and the Deck. The Deck here is a nonprofit organization that helps and supports entrepreneurs here in Dallas. And the Capital Factory is a for-profit organization and the owner of the building that we're in right now. If you'd like, I'd recommend to check out and talk with Warren. He'll hook you up with a tour. And by the way, I just got a membership here. It is actually really fun, and they have Taco Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, if you get a membership, you get free tacos. Alrighty. So our next presentation is going to be Sunny with MediBookr.
Well, good morning. I know the former presenters to say good morning. I would like to say good morning and thank you for being here, for facing the early morning traffic, and it is great to be back. I was here 2 years ago. Yes, and thanks to 1 Million Cups for doing this, and the DEC and the Capital Factory and the volunteers. So as an entrepreneur, I would say I'm always so grateful whenever I was given the opportunity like this to share what we have built. People just don't know outside DFW what a wonderful community we have. So thank you. MediBookr, you know, I'm Sunny Nadowski. Some of you may not know. I'm the founder and CEO of MediBookr, a smart healthcare navigation company. So we were here 2 years ago, and we are a graduate at the Health Wildcatters 2016 class. We're also the lucky recipient of the Premier's Top Healthcare Innovator Award, and also the Magazine's finalist in 2017's Healthcare Excellence. Tech Week's Rising Startup winner, and we're the winner of Soar to Success, as some of you know us at the very beginning back at the end of 2016. So the industry we focus on is healthcare, specifically healthcare cost. We focus on the self-insured employers and their employees. Many of you might know it hits a lot of headlines, the cost. During the past 20 years, the healthcare cost has gone up over 300% for employers. And the deductibles and premiums have all gone up in a very crazy way that I'm sure many of us feel the pinch of that. To solve the problem for the employers and employees, patients, we build MediBookr. So the MediBookr solution, really, we call it the smart healthcare navigation solution because it is powered by digital technology, mobile technology, data analytics, and AI. Essentially, we provide navigation for employees through web mobile solution where they can quickly search for healthcare providers nearby them, compare the cost and the ratings, and then book with the best value providers as they see it. We also provide a spending insight for employers so that they can better control their healthcare spending. Providers also gain efficiency on MediBookr by making themselves more visible to attract groups of users, patients. So the subject today is where we are and literally where have we been. For some of you who do not know about us, we rolled out MediBookr as a marketplace to patients directly at the beginning with medical imaging, search, find, book with the best imaging center. But then we quickly realized as a young company, it is not very affordable to reach the end consumer unless you have many millions of dollars to get to them. So we quickly pivoted ourselves to a B2B2C model, that is to switch ourselves from serving the end user to employers and the employees. So this way we can achieve traction faster. And then during the past year, we enhanced our product, web and mobile, from the single vertical of imaging to multiple verticals, all verticals in medical and pharmacy. We raised 1.5 million in angel funding. We did a successful pilot with a local municipality last year, and we also built a distribution network. So as of now, we are serving over 100,000 lives, mostly in DFW. This year, we plan to expand to other cities in Texas and other states to reach 1 million revenue and raise another round, $1 to $3 million. Here's our team from a few to 11 members, to 12 members. And our mission is to help increase quality and cut down healthcare costs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunny. It's time for question and answer again. So our first question to you is always, what can we as a community do for you?
Thank you for the question. I remember that question last time, and it was very helpful. As you know, as a young startup, if you could help us get the word out, whether it is a potential client, an employer, or employees, or investors, or someone who could be a partner as a provider or in other ways, that would be very helpful. And also, we are hiring talents in system architect, data analytics, and patient advocacy. So if you know anyone, please let me know. I'll be around, and I have cards with me as well.
If you have a question, raise your hand and will you repeat the question?
Thank you. Yes, Tony.
What, Sunny, is your target market size for self-insured companies?
Great question, Tony. The question is, what is my target client, especially how big they are, what's the size? Traditionally, so we focus on self-insured employers. Traditionally, only employers of several thousand are self-insured. Because of the cost, one of our clients only has 50 employees, and they have to go self-insured in order to better control the cost.
What is your background? Why did you start this?
Thank you. Education-wise, I have an MBA, and then I spent 3 years in PhD at Michigan State in the business school. I built 2 other ventures, and one of them is like a MediBookr, but for local services, like DJ, trainer, handyman. If you're looking for them, then you can use the app and search, compare cost, quality, and book with the best one and pay. So it's just streamlined. That's my background. I just accidentally bumped into this healthcare problem myself, and I thought, wow, this is a much bigger problem, a much more important problem, because when you're sick, the last thing you want is to be taken advantage of by the big corporations who are chasing for profits. So that's how I started building MediBookr. Been doing it for about 3 years. Yes.
Where do you get the data for the price comparison of the providers for the services provided?
Sure. The question is, where do I get the data to provide to the clients, the providers? Great question. I get that question every time I get onto the stage. We get data from multiple sources. One of them is clients' data. We get clients' claim data back to 2-3 years and analyze them. Another source is there are, as you know, data warehouses. They make business by selling the data, providers' data, profile, accreditation, rating, etc. We get that. Third source are provided by the providers, especially the providers who are not part of the hospital. As you know, the more independent they are, most likely the less their services cost, and they wanted to volunteer that information to share with us. Yes.
What were some of the challenges that you faced up until now, specifically dealing with competitors in this field?
Very good question. The question is, what are the challenges that we face, especially regarding competitors? As you know, healthcare is a big industry. We spend a lot of money, trillions on it, and there are a lot of players. So we always have to keep ourselves updated. Not that so much we're competing for the market share because the market is big enough and the problem is big enough, but to always understand what the competitors are doing, how do we quickly upgrade our solution, improve our product. The biggest challenge we face is we are dealing with a very volatile industry, and there are regulations, there are political fights as well, and we just have to always keep ourselves updated in that area, and then upgrade our products and work with the employers.
You mentioned regulations, so when HIPAA laws are involved, does that affect how you store or transmit data or anything?
Yeah, sure, good question. Regarding the law, the regulation side, HIPAA, yes, that's in place. We all are HIPAA compliant, so there's not a whole lot of change there. More, we always think about how do we take advantage of the new laws. For instance, starting from January 1st this year, our government mandated, CMS mandated all hospital systems, thousands of them, to have to publish their charge master rate on the website that is machine readable. That is great news for us. All of a sudden, we are in the transparency business, and that's like a gift by Santa before Christmas kind of feeling. So we need to quickly figure out a way, how do we take advantage of that, harvest that data, and to make our transparency solution better to serve the employers, the employees, and the patients.
We have time for one more question.
Yes.
How do you generate revenue? Are you charging businesses and consumers, or?
Great question. The question is, what's the business model? How do we make money? We charge the employers a PEPM, basically a certain dollar amount per month per employee, and depending how big they are, $1 to $7. The bigger they are, the less we charge them. The smaller they are, the more we charge them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the warm thanks at the beginning of your presentation. All right, our last presentation is Brandon with cleansing supplies.
Hi, I'm Brandon, and this is my first cousin, Jessica. We make a product called Pristine Cleansing Sprays. We're the founders and owners of this company. Pristine is a new product category. It's actually called a toilet paper spray, and Jessica's going to demonstrate how it functions, but it's basically a wet wipe alternative. So you spray Pristine directly on the toilet paper so that it functions like a wet wipe in that it actually cleanses and soothes the skin, but it's actually flushable. It's actually biodegradable because it's used with regular toilet paper, whereas wet wipes are used with made with synthetic fibers and aren't actually biodegradable. So we conceived of this product about 5 years ago, and we presented here at 1 Million Cups 2.5 years ago. And just this past Sunday, we aired on Shark Tank. And so because this is a where are they now presentation, we wanted to tell you a little bit about where we've been over the past 5 years and then where we think we're going.
So like Brandon said, we conceived this idea We conceived this idea 5 years ago when we realized we had a very common issue with wet wipes. We realized that some harsh chemicals and synthetic fibers in most brands of wet wipes were causing severe skin irritation for both of us and for my children, some of whom were in diapers, potty training, and using the toilet. We also learned that the cause of my house and yard flooding was due to wet wipes being flushed down the toilet. And we learned that those problems extended far beyond my own home and into the city sewer systems and even beyond that hospital problems. At the time, there was no mainstream alternative that would solve these issues, and so Brandon and I created one. We literally ordered ingredients online and sat in our kitchens, mixing different bottles and batches and trying to figure out what could we do that would be non-irritating, clean ingredients and that would not clog pipes. So we had hairnets, plastic gloves, and we sat in our kitchen and found a solution that we thought was the world's newest, greatest invention ever. But we were going to have to see once we got it in the market.
So 2.5 years ago when we came to here, we had just laid the foundation for the business. We had decided what we thought was a good formula, but we were still mixing it ourselves. We had just begun talks with an actual manufacturer to help us make it. So we were still fulfilling all orders ourselves, which was about 2 a month, mostly to our parents and families. And we were, we were self-funded at the time. We were doing everything, from contract reviews to finances to taxes to website design. And that year, 2.5 years ago when we first presented here, we had $1,000 in sales total for the entire year.
We've got some fun slides of us actually doing our heavy lifting and all of our home office operations that were kind of a mess, but ended up working out for us. So with our $1,000 in sales, we knew we needed to increase our presence. We needed to start really working on our sales avenues. We had a product, we kind of knew where we were going. We worked a lot on the legal side, but sales, obviously, sales cures all. So we really worked on our social media presence. We did a lot of our own graphic designing and content. We built our website from the ground up, wrote all of our messaging, did a lot of our own photography for that as well. And after a couple of years, we were able to partner with an Amazon retailer to help extend our presence on Amazon and hopefully be building our sales. Despite our increasing sales, we were still struggling to find our market and our message. And we built our website. The previous slide was of our website, and we got our products. How do we reach our market? So, who can use an alternative to wet wipes? We have babies and kids, we have adults and seniors, a large group of people can use this, but reaching them in a concise and tactful way was a challenge and still is. And so we really had to find out where our message was going to be. Do we embrace it with our sparkle butt, our mascot? Do we really stick with our motto and our purpose, which is our eco-friendly nature, cleaner products, cleaner planet, cleaner posterior? Or do we, where do we find that message? And we really were able to bring it all in and have a message that we felt like really reached our audience. We're still tweaking that. We're still finding our voice and moving forward. So really quickly, since we're almost over time here, but where are we now? We now have 2 manufacturers. We're no longer making our product in our kitchen. We have a fulfillment center who ships out the large majority of our orders. We have a social media team creating our Sparkle Bed and other content. We are sold in several boutique retail locations around Texas and other locations. But we're still very intimately involved in every process. We've not disassociated with any of these items. And we still office from our house, but we no longer have piles of boxes, product, and void filler and shipping labels surrounding us. Even though we've been in this business about 5 years, we're still a very young company in the scheme of startups. Shark Tank was a little bit of luck and also having a hilarious product to talk about. If anyone saw the episode, everyone really, fortunately, had a good time with us, and nobody yelled at us. We're still figuring things out as we respond to the wake of Shark Tank, and we had an overwhelming response. We're learning now how to deal with 10 to 20,000 units in inventory as opposed to the 1,000 units and a couple hundred in sales that we dealt with before. So where were we when we started 5 years ago and when we presented at 1 Million Cups 2 years ago? We were learning, we were building, we were experimenting, and we were messing up, and we were seeking advice. And so where are we 5 years later? We're learning, we're building, we're experimenting, and messing up, and we're seeking advice.
So much, that was fun. So we are going to open up the floor for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. But our first question to you is, what can we as a community do for you?
Well, keep doing what the deck is doing, because we're just so fortunate, and I'm thankful for having a community like this and having resources to seek advice. I mean, no matter where you are in the life of a startup company and as an entrepreneur, you've never been where you're going, and someone else has been there, someone else has advice, and mentor program and just being in this community is very helpful.
I'm sure you've heard of Poopery, right?
Yes.
Susie is based in Dallas too, and I was just wondering if you ever thought of doing like a partnership with her. It would be really cute to see these in like gift boxes with the Poopery spray and the Pristine spray. So even if for a small month, like when she places the order or you do gift boxes with her, so people already know what Poopery is, they're also learning what their product is too. So just wondering if you had thought about that.
We have thought about just kind of doing cross-branding with products in our market like Poopery and toilet papers. So we're always open to that. I mean, you can't ever reduce how good it is to just partner with other products and really extend your reach. Thank you for that input. Yes, sir.
On Shark Tank, you didn't get funded, right?
We are, sorry.
We got a contingent deal with Lori, contingent on Squatty Potty partnering with us.
I didn't have
It's still in the works right now, and we don't have a definitive deal yet. But so it's
5 years ago.
5 years ago is when we conceived of the idea.
When was I saw the episode this weekend, but when was that originally broadcast?
It was just on Sunday.
That was the first time?
Yes.
Okay. So, question for you. The day after it aired, was your phone deluged with people who wanted to invest? Not customers, but investors. I always wondered what happens to people on Shark Tank. Basically, you can get a Shark Tank, turn down a deal, or maybe digitally accept one, and then the following day people come along on your phone and have better deals for you.
I'll be honest, we didn't have one, so. Well, at least not to us. I don't know. Maybe it was our sales numbers that we talked about on air.
Are you raising funds right now? If so, how much your share of that is?
No, we're not raising funding right now.
Quick question. Sure, I'm not the first person to bring this up, but if you do get gas sales, what's going to stop like a Procter & Gamble just create the same product?
We've tried to position ourselves in the market as a high quality toilet paper spray. We do use really high quality ingredients. We use a naturally derived preservative system. And so what we have hoped is that when a Procter & Gamble comes into the market, which we hope they do because they have the advertising budget to support a new product category and to educate people on how to use it. And we hope that they will introduce, a more low cost, more widely usable brand, and that we can be the more natural, higher end brand. So that's what we've tried to do because we have been worried about that.
So do you have a patent or something that?
We do. We have a patent application pending right now.
On what?
It is directed to the natural nature, the natural ingredients, and the viscosity of it. It's relatively difficult to make a spray that that has natural oils in it that also comes out of the sprayer without clogging it.
So it's the ingredient that is being used in your product?
It's directed, yes, the mixture itself.
But is it
Let's get a
possible
question in the
to...
back. I'm sorry, we can't have a dialogue. We need to get some of the other questions in. So Ruth and then Tyler, please.
So my question is, I'm assuming it's a natural spray, right? Why don't you guys limit it to target this market? Why not just use it as a hygienic product alternative to like a white person's those chemicals? I mean, I would assume that you would get much more traction.
What market are you saying? Were we limiting it to?
I mean, you're limiting it to, potty or, cleaning yourself or whatever, right? Because you're a mascot or something, but if it's just an alternative to, these white hand cleaners, which are chemically bad and stuff, and everybody knows it, I would assume that you would get much more traction as you said, you always hear you're going to use it for.
Yes, that's a great point too. And so we do tell folks that you can, clean off your hands. I mean, with moms with young kids, you can wipe off a toilet seat. There's no alcohol in the product. There's not something that would, antiseptic that would actually an antibacterial that would kill germs. That would be too harsh for the skin. There are some limited uses of the product that you can, clean things, but we don't want it to be too harsh for the body. For this particular product, now maybe in the future we can extend our product brand to like a hand sanitizer or something that might be very effective as an antibacterial on counters to kill germs.
Last question from Tyler.
I'm assuming that your exposure on Shark Tank is going to be great for sales and great for you and all that. But as of maybe the day before it aired, I've read that Shark Tank takes, just being on the show, you'll offer up small piece of equity, some things like that. Is that not true? Oh, okay. So up to that, prior to what I'm going to assume is going to be a nice expansion of your sales, was the Shark Tank experience positive, generally positive for you guys?
I would say yes. Do you want to elaborate, Brandon? It was, we said it was luck. It really was. We went to an open call here in Dallas, kind of prepared our speech as we were sitting in the line of, hundreds and thousands of people waiting. But it was a lot of hard work after that. There were a lot of different presentations and things that we did have to deliver. It was a lot of waiting and anxiety, wondering if it was going to happen, but also, trying to build our business and not think about that as a possibility. But it was enjoyable. We didn't get yelled and screamed at on the stage. Everybody really had a good time, had a lot of funny poop puns. You've got to. But I would say it's been a good experience before and after.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely always been a big fear of mine. I don't know why I think I'll never end up on Shark Tank, but man, I don't want to be on national TV just getting ripped apart. So good for you guys. All right, so that kind of wraps us up. I want to thank the team, and before we go, Warren's going to tell us a quick little bit about the Capital Factory and the tour he's giving here shortly.
Hey guys, I'm Warren Pagella. I'm the memberships coordinator here at Capital Factory. If this is your first time here, or you're just interested in learning more about Capital Factory, I'm going to be giving a tour after all this ends. So just meet me out here, and I'll be gathering everyone and give you guys a tour. So yeah, thanks guys for coming, and please see me outside.
Thanks, Warren, and thank everyone for showing up. Hope to see you next Wednesday. Can't wait to see y'all. Thank you.